Holy
crap. So weird. Welcome to Fatman. I'm Batman. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernardin.
Hey!
Ho!
All right, this is huge for us, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, tonight represents the 200th episode of Fatman on Batman, so it's an anniversary of sorts. Number two, for those listening at home, like, why does it sound so weird? We are in the courtyard of the TCL Chinese Theater, what I always grew up knowing as Groman's Chinese Theater. If in your head you're listening at home and you picture like all the footprints in the cement, we are standing on the footsteps of giants.
Yeah, I mean it's dry because they don't want our feet prints.
Sounded like we were getting a score for a second there. I was like, wow, this is a great show. Yes, go ahead, continue.
I was just gonna say, like, I was here when I was 14 years old and like looking for R2 and looking for C3PO, and suddenly we're doing a fucking show standing on these footprints. It's nuts.
There's right over there in 1979, it was the first time I ever came to Los Angeles, and I have a picture still of me and my brother kneeling in front of the Star Wars footprints, and never once when I was a kid was like, one day I'll come back and podcast. Like, so it's a big night, man. This is really kind of thrilling. Thanks everybody for coming out. Now, to give you a sense of an idea of why here and why now, because I'm sure some people at home are like, what are they doing in the courtyard? Have they lost their home at the Scum and Villainy Cantina? Are we busking? That's kind of what it sounds like. Has Kevin Smith finally thrown in the towel and now is playing Silent Bob on Hollywood Boulevard, taking pictures with people, something that Jay has asked me to do a number of times.
Really? So then who am I? Am I like Fat Webster?
That would be it, yes. It would be like, this is what happened to Emmanuel Lewis. For those listening at home, there is liningup.net. Are the good folks who lined up, it's right in the name, they don't bury the lead, it's right there, for the re-releases, I guess, back in '99, is that correct? You know what we should do is actually get somebody who knows history of the organization who can tell us some useful information. Let's get Samir from Lining Up here. Samir, come on up. Jump on in the middle here. Here's a mic for you. Go ahead.
Thanks,
this
guys.
is Samir, man. For the folks at home, tell them your name and what you do, Samir.
Hi, my name is Samir Bakhta. I'm one of the organizers for liningup.net, and we've been out here doing this since 1999.
Now, what was it? What happened in '99? That was happenstance. That was just a bunch of strangers just going like, we can't wait to see these movies, and we're going to line up again like they did back in the day. Was there a need to line up at that point?
So way back then, you actually had to stand in line to get your tickets. There was no online ticket sales. You couldn't buy anything on the internet. The internet was still dial-up and, you know, that stupid AOL guy. And so, you know...
I still use my AOL
yeah,
address.
I'll bet.
So.
That's okay, my wife does too. And so, you know, the only way to get tickets was that you had to be in line. And so there was a website called Counting Down, and they organized a bunch of lines. And they said, okay, well, some people are going to be in line for a week, some people in 2 weeks. They said, screw it. 6 freaking weeks on the streets of Hollywood. And
now, when you say on the streets of Hollywood, I remember
literally.
the clips back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing people lined up, and I would be out here from time to time, and when you drove down Hollywood Boulevard, you would see people in like lawn chairs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So back then, you know, we didn't have the relationship we had with the Chinese, and so the Chinese was like, yeah, whatever, we don't want anything to do with you. So we lined up outside of a parking lot.
I literally dropped money and they gave it back to me. You know what? You earned it. It's yours because you literally could have kept it and you gave it back. You put it in the raffle tickets. Good. That's very, very sweet.
Wait, I
dropped
away money now,
like a billionaire. I dropped a $20 bill.
Is this a fucking Oprah thing now? I have to give away money?
Yes. Now you got to throw up money as well. I'm sorry. Back to the story.
No, that's cool. So we were standing in line outside on the street in front of a parking lot. The parking lot didn't want anything to do with us either.
Was that over?
It was what's now the Wax Museum.
Yeah. Madame Tussauds is there now, but it used to just be an empty parking lot.
Yeah, it was Grant's parking lot, and they hated us, and the Chinese was like, whatever, we don't want anything to do with you either.
Where did everybody pee and shower?
Anywhere they could. No, I can't.
At the same time.
Yeah,
usually.
right. No, you'd sneak into the restaurants across the street, or the Hollywood and Highland wasn't even built back then.
That's
so
right. Oh my God.
It was a different Hollywood.
So wait, were you allowed to could you hold my place in line and go home and shower?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. This was. I mean, there was a few people there that were there all the time, but mostly it was you signed in and signed out, and it was a stand-a-thon. But they have a jog-a-thon or a walk-a-thon. This is a stand-a-thon, so everybody would get sponsored by their family or friends and say, "I'm going to go stand in line for Star Wars for 6 weeks." And people were like, "You're crazy." And I said, "I'm going to do it for this many hours." And okay, great. I'll give you $2 an hour. And the more hours you spent, the more money you'd earn for the charity. And so it was everybody. We had these books that everybody signed in and signed out when you were there, and we tabulated the hours. And the first person with the most hours in line was the first person through those doors, running in like crazy asses to go and grab their seats. It was awesome.
So it was like a real democratic system, man, like meritocracy of sorts. The
was-
longer you were there, the sooner you got into the theater. But they all got in the theater before the movie began, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
So what was the fucking point, man?
Well, we wanted that best seat, right underneath in the middle of there.
Choice, absolute first choice.
Yeah.
Here's my question about '99. When you guys were all lined up, friendships.
Oh yeah.
Did people get married? No, I'm sure nobody had a child in line, but did people meet?
Did they?
I believe there might have been one or two conceived in line.
Could that happen?
In '99, we had a rule that if you had sex in line, you had to scream out "I love Star Wars" at the moment of completion, and it happened on more than one occasion.
That's a general rule at my house, man.
There's a line member who shall remain nameless who was underage at the time, and I believe he lost his innocence in a tent in line.
It was '99, folks.
It was a different age.
It was a different age. Wow, man. So you go into this thing going like, oh, this will be fun and kooky. Was it based on, hey, when I was a kid, I saw people line up in '77. Like, I always saw news footage back in Jersey of this place, and people lined up to see the original release of Star Wars. Did that have any play at all?
Yeah, I mean, people had started to get back into Star Wars since the Tim Zahn books started to come out, and then with the special editions, and so the interest was there. And then for those of us who were there, back in '99, it was a different world for fandom. I mean, if you think about it, there was no internet, there was no internet communities, there was no Facebook, none of that, and so. And being a geek and being a sci-fi fan was a different world. It was not accepted. You were like, oh, dude, you're one of those people. And
there's always distinctions too.
Right.
Like you could go to a Comic-Con and you'd have a bunch of people like looking at Trekkies going, look at these fucking geeks. And they were stormtroopers.
Oh yeah, there was like the Trekkies versus Star Wars people all the time. And so, for those of us who were doing other things, you buried your fandom. You didn't let your fly. You didn't walk around in Star Wars gear. It wasn't at every store. And so all of a sudden you got out to this line and you found your tribe. These are your people. And it was really an amazing conglomeration of people from all different walks, all different ethnicities, all different socioeconomic statuses, and they all came together because of their love of this movie. Of course, we watched episode 1 and got horribly disappointed, but. But
hey, what a weird
6 weeks for this.
Yeah, but you know what? And yet we did it again in 2002. And in fact, the original folks that did the line, the fans in line, we all got together from the Counting Down line, and we created liningup.net because the first line there was some issues there. So we said, all right, we're gonna make our own
love
group.
Star Wars.
Yeah, some of that
guy.
That guy's still around. He's here actually.
Just say it, Samir. You're like, that guy is me.
No, sadly not. No, but it was a group of friendship, and we did it for the experience because we're like, okay, the movie sucked, but that 6 weeks of people who just got us, and around people who you didn't have to explain it, you didn't have to justify it, you didn't have to. Oh, I like Star Wars. Oh, you're weird. And it's like, no, dude, I like Star Wars. Oh, dude, let me talk about, that scene in Hoth with the Wampa. And you didn't have to explain it. You didn't have to go through it. You're like, oh my gosh, I can sit down and wax poetic about, how much I hated the Ewoks, and people got it. And it was
I built a career on that shit, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I watched it.
It was a different time. Now, like, you know, it's weird when you have to explain to people, like, oh, there was a time that, like, you couldn't really talk about liking things like Star Wars or comic books. You had to find the right people.
Right.
It was like tapping under the stall at a bathroom, man. Just try to find the right person. But now it's like everybody knows. Your mother tells
just make
you.
sure you don't have a wide stance.
Good point. Good point.
Hey, do you love Star Wars? I love Star Wars.
Yeah,
That's the code. But now everybody knows this stuff. Your mom knows when Last Jedi is coming out, knows that it's important. Like, oh, this is the one that Rian Johnson made. My mother literally told me the director's name, and I'm like, I know that. You know. But I was like, how do you know that? And she's like, I've seen it on the news.
Yeah.
She said, he's a successful director, Tiger. And I told her, I said, Mom, I've had Rian Johnson on my podcast. And she goes, that's my point. All right, so at a certain point, was it from 99 forward that it was a fundraiser? And was it always for the same organization?
It was always a fundraiser from 99. It was always for the Starlight Children's Foundation.
Which is what? Explain. That's beautiful. So explain that.
So the Starlight Children's Foundation is an international organization. They're around the world, but they do a lot of work in the United States, and their job is to brighten the lives of sick children worldwide.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Which is, I mean, I literally saw what they did firsthand, because when I was in line in 99, I was a medical student over at Children's Hospital LA, and you know, we had kids that were really sick with cancer and all kinds of other stuff, and they'd be sitting there and they were playing these, you know, it was like Super Nintendo, I think, and these Starlight Fun Centers, and they had playrooms that were sponsored by Starlight, and so, you know, I got to see that firsthand even before I joined the line, and then I got here and I said, wait, you're raising money for Starlight? Okay, yeah, sign me up. You know, if I needed another reason, that was a good one. And so, you know, we've been really fortunate to partner with them. It's an amazing organization. They do really great work. And I strongly encourage everybody here and out in podcast land to consider donating a few bucks. Link out there is www.starlight.org/liningup.
Perfect. Well sold, my friend. I believe we're doing an auction, are we not? For
a lucky prize draw, I think is the right word.
How do they do that? How do they?
Everybody pays $10 for a raffle ticket, and the TCL organization has very generously donated a 55-inch 4K Dolby Atmos. Do all kinds of nasty things to you when you're not looking TV for us. So if you donate your $10, you get a raffle ticket.
That's pretty fantastic. Do they do it here? When is the? Have they done it before?
They're doing it right now for all the people watching right now.
Beautiful. All right, so wow, people can get a chance to win a TV and help out the kids through Starlight. That's beautiful. Now they also said, because I was like, we want to talk to somebody who can tell us what Lining Up does and has done. And they said, oh, you definitely want to talk to Samir. And they said, unless you want to laugh. And then you want to talk to someone else.
Yeah, I'm not your guy.
Which wasn't an insult. Like they said, there's a guy you gotta talk to, and we said who, and they said Grimlock. So, Grimlock, will you come up and join us?
I think we can release our Imperial Guards now. Also,
We can. The boys can stand down. We're good for a bit. Thank you to the
Okay, carry on.
Stormtroopers.
Okay, so first of all, I loved Star Wars on Frank Sinatra's handprints right there, 2 years ago.
oh,
You what? Say again.
Oh, I loved Star Wars right there.
What do you mean you loved it?
Well,
Oh, you in the code we were talking about?
when a man...
You had sex with somebody there? Is that what you're saying?
Can you believe it? And it wasn't even a banana peel.
I mean, I want to know the story, but I don't want you to get in trouble.
Well, you know, the truth is, everybody here knows this story pretty much. I mean, they saw...
I don't.
Well,
There was even knocking at the tent.
there was some knocking
So you
at
had
the
a tent
tent.
there.
Yeah. So they're like, Grimlock, come out here. And I said, and I pulled out. And said, hey, what's up? And they're like, oh, nothing. I pulled up my chonies and, you know.
The really weird thing is Jason Mewes was like, can I come? And I was like, no, stay home. You're too dirty.
Oh, he would have.
But he's never done a sound effect.
He would have got laid easy.
What, so tell us, you go back to 99 as well?
I go back to 99.
But you look young. How old were you in 99? 12?
17.
I was 25.
You were 25?
I was 25. It's amazing what not being married and eating a lot of pizza and living your life without children will do for you.
That's the secret? Kidless?
That's the secret. A lot of in and out.
Right to the mouth.
Right to the mouth.
There you go.
The way I like it.
Okay, so you came out in '99 to line up with a bunch of strangers. You come solo by yourself.
I came with a friend, Sam. We the day that the line started, it was on the news, and I was like, "My God, I got to go meet these guys right now." Well, we didn't go right now. We went the second day, and the second day, I was there for about 6 hours, and it was like Samir said. It was like instantly, I'm accepted. I found my tribe. These are my people, and it was like crack ever since. I can't not be here. This is the greatest cathedral cinematic history of all time, and we played a game called Whose Mouth Is on My Penis? A lot. I had a van at the time.
Okay.
And
Do they travel in single file to hide their numbers?
not really. I mean, half the time I kept my eyes closed because I didn't want to know what was going on, but, you know, it was a very welcoming van. It was an 85 Dodge Ram van.
This is 99?
This is 99, 2002, 2005, 2015, 16.
Just to get rid of the van recently or something?
Oh, the van. I wanted to give it a Viking funeral, but I couldn't set it on fire on the ocean. They wouldn't let me.
So what do you do when you're not doing this?
He's a whore.
A star whore.
I frequently embarrass my mother, and I work at Trader Joe's.
Do you work at Trader? I thought I recognized you.
So, Clerks.
Yes.
Okay, I have some ideas, believe me.
Fire away.
Okay, so if you're a customer and you've ever said, "Oh, it didn't scan, it must be free," please kill yourself. Okay.
I don't know if I could build a whole feature on that, I'll be honest with you.
I'm telling you, I have some ideas that I can't say on anything.
What, you think that something's worse than the sound effect of...
I think that could be.
all right, so what do you do this for other movies or just Star Wars?
No, it's just Star Wars. I'm not a heathen. Although I would do it for Marvel. I would do it for Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've earned your love and respect.
Oh my God, and my nipples are perky when I talk about them.
It's true.
Tell me how good was the Infinity War trailer?
Infinity War trailer was really great. Like it was fantastic.
Oh, I was leaking out of multiple orifices.
Yes. I too was coming without assistance.
Oh, I didn't know that a male could lactate.
You got me beat there. What now? You've been online for how long? Is tonight the first night?
Tonight's the first night.
Have you seen people that you've seen since '99? Is it a homecoming of sorts? No pun intended.
It's a homecoming every time, and it seriously, like, this is the Thanksgiving that I wanted. You know, this is a family that you can't choose your family that you're born to, but you found this family, and I love them all, and I can't believe that we're still doing this after 18 years. I mean, there's still magic there.
Yeah.
People have had children, married, divorced. Hell, there's grandparents here now. And look, I mean, we've gone from, balding and gray and, well, except for me.
Yeah, look at you. You look young and vital and shit.
No kids, no wife. Lot of fun.
That's the Trader Joe's life, man, right there.
He's aging like a black dude.
Yeah. Hey, black don't crack.
Hell no. Hell no.
Go say something nice so we can send you off on a great note.
I'm just super
No,
happy.
you were there. You were just saying really cool, like real things.
Well, like I said, I mean, I can't believe that I still get to do this. I can't believe that this is our life after so many years, and I'm so happy to spend this time with you all. I still can't get over it.
They're gonna keep making these Star Wars movies whether we want them or not. So now that they're doing like one a year, are you gonna line up every year?
Until my dick falls off. I can't not.
Until my
in
dick
cement.
falls off. The Grimlock story. Give it up for Grimlock, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent job. Okay. All right, so now we got a bit of backstory, and a bit of history and whatnot.
The picture's becoming clearer.
It is becoming clear. Okay, Before, this is lovely. Somebody sent, there's
Cookies.
This is nice. There is today at the house. They delivered a box of pop chips. I'm just gonna move. I got a lot of props tonight. The pop chips. It was kind of weird because literally a pop chip van showed up. And my wife, she sits at the window all the time, and she was just like, "Did you order pop chips?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "Well, there's a fucking van full of them outside." And the dude brought in like 3 cases like this. One of them was phenomenal, and I kept them all for myself. They started doing nutter butter, not nutter butter, but it's like peanut butter, cheese doodles with chocolate. It tasted like Reese's Puffs cereal. It was amazing. But these are Star Wars Galaxy Puffs pop chips, so I figured we'd give them out while we're here.
Oh, Trump style.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be that guy. Tell you what, if you want one, come up and get it. Yeah, I don't want that presidential sheen on me at all. Hey man, just to show you like what a legit. Are you grabbing 2 bags? There you go. Look at that shit.
God
Wow.
damn.
Pop chips be very happy. The box is yours. It says Star Wars on it. Just to show you how legit my Star Wars fandom is, I go back to the first movie. I didn't see it in a theater when it came out in May. I heard a bunch of friends talk about it, and then I begged my parents, "Can we go see the Star Wars movie? It's got a space dog." And we went to see it, and I've described it many times as I walked in to that theater. You know, I was a Catholic. I was an altar boy. When I walked out of that theater, I switched religions. I was a Jedi from that point forward. So Star Wars was a huge part of my childhood and adolescence. I tracked all 3 movies as milestones throughout my youth. And first love came from the Star Wars movies. I fell in love with Princess Leia, not in the first Star Wars movie, but in Empire Strikes Back. That's where she stole my heart. So everything Star Wars related in my bedroom shifted to a kind of more Princess Leia theme, which worried my dad in the 70s. But it was all about, like, you know, she was the woman that I kind of, I don't know, that I fell in love with. I loved her strong personality and shit. She could put Han Solo in his fucking place and stuff. But she was soft enough to be like, "I love you," and then he one-upped her with, "I know," and then fucking went down and shit. Not that way, but, you know, went down in the carbonite pit. So I remember back in the day, like, I came out here in 1979 on a family vacation. We took a train trip across the country. And we got here, and I bought a map to the Stars home because I was trying to find Carrie Fisher's house and stuff like that. This is the same trip that I took pictures right here. There was an address in the maps to the Stars home that you could write to get, like, you know, fan mail, send fan mail to. So I sent like a letter to Carrie Fisher, care of that address. I sent one to 20th Century Fox, like I'm sure many kids did back in the day. But, you know, goddamn it, if they weren't up on this shit back then. They sent back, well, what I thought in 1979, 1980, she sent back a signed photograph that said, it's a headshot of Princess Leia from Empire Strikes Back, and it says, "Best wishes, galactically yours, Carrie Fisher." Now, when you look at it, look at that. Don't that look like a pen wrote on a piece of paper?
Oh, no, it absolutely does.
Hands
it
down.
also looks like my 4th grade teacher's handwriting, but...
Well, I was stupid, so I bought it. And I was just like, oh my God, like she literally, it was just missing my name, but it's like clearly she had written that herself, Carrie Fisher. So, you know, this sat next to my bed in a much different frame. This is a more current frame. And every time, like, I went to bed, like, there was a Empire Strikes Back poster I had on the wall that featured her prominently. It was a drawing. It wasn't one of the classic posters. Then I would kiss that. I would kiss this. And then I had Empire Strikes Back sheets with Princess Leia on them, and I would do a lot worse to that than kiss them. Watch this! But a year after this, like, you know, I had this for a long time, and I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to try to get a different one, another one. So I sent another fan letter to the same places and stuff. And sure enough, I got another one, an exact duplicate of this one with matching signatures. So it was clearly done on one of those earliest autograph type machines. And so years later, I met and worked with Carrie Fisher. And I showed her this picture. She came over to my house to do a poetry event once. And I brought this picture out. And I was like, do you recognize this? And she goes, yeah, I signed that. And I said, you did not. That was done on a machine. She's like, yeah, but I signed it and then the machine did it. She's going, but I remember writing those words. I said, get out of here. She goes, yeah, they asked me, like just wrote Carrie Fisher. And then they said, can't you do better than that? And she's like, I was a writer and I remembered that. And so I wrote Galactically Yours, and she put it in quotes. And I was like, you remember this moment? She's going, yeah. She was like, it was a moment where like I had to decide because it was going to be on 100,000 pictures. And I was like, well, I got 2 of them. It was kind of sweet. So my fandom goes way back. What about yours? When did you first fall in love with Star Wars?
My very first memory, I'm a year younger than you are.
When were you born?
In 71.
Yeah, I'm 70.
So my very first memory, the thing that I can actually recall with vivid detail, is sitting in a theater when I must have been 6 years old and seeing the fucking Star Destroyer scream over my head. Like, that's literally the first thing that I can remember. And it was also the first time that I remembered that people wrote this stuff. You know, like there were names on a screen that I hadn't, like the only names I'd ever seen anywhere were just like sports figures or whatever. But
right.
Written and directed by George Lucas was, oh shit, people make this stuff.
Yes.
Maybe at some point I could make this stuff. And it all kind of ties back to Star Wars and Flash Gordon, which is a knockoff from Star Wars, but whatever. But then Star Wars is a knockoff from Flash Gordon, and it's all a fucking twisted circle. But yeah, I mean, it's foundational for me in a real way.
I remember there was no sense of like, now when you see a movie, if it does remotely well, even if it doesn't do remotely well, it's set up for like, it used to be set up for trilogies, but now everyone wants to build a universe and shit like that and have way more than 3 movies. So this was a movie though that didn't feel like, oh my God, there's another one coming. It just felt like they were done. They told a complete story, good defeated evil, and that was it. So when they announced, hey man, there's more of this, or when they started talking about it enough for it to permeate down to, you know, the single digit age group, like I was 7 when Star Wars came out, like suddenly you had something to look forward to. You're like, what? And then I remember my father going, yeah, when I was a kid, they would do these like Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers serials, and they'd do them once a week. We'd go to the movies and see them. He's going, but they can't do that with these because these look better and they cost more money and stuff. But suddenly we had something beyond Saturday morning television to look forward to. Like, there's going to be another one of these Star Wars movies. And I agree with you completely. It was kind of the birth of the rock star director because I knew that guy's name. I was a 7-year-old who knew the name of George Lucas, who knew the name of Steven Spielberg, because one scared the shit out of me and made me never want to go in the ocean again. And the other took me to space and made me, you know, want to live there and find friends who aren't real but mean more to me than some blood relatives, you know. So learning those names was a big part of it. And you're right. It was a sense of like, oh, George Lucas did this. He created Chewie. He created Luke Skywalker and the Death Star. This all came from somebody's imagination. I would agree with that completely.
Yeah, and it's funny, like you look at, especially today when everybody wants a universe, everybody wants a connected series of films that'll tie up and make everybody $1 billion. Remembering back to Star Wars, one movie, one story. Just make that first one awesome. Make it stand on its own. And then in success, you get to spin out all kinds of wonder and all kinds of magic, but make the first one great. Don't worry about the 5th one when you're making the first one.
Right. It's a time that's kind of passed. I was just thinking about it, this as apropos of nothing, but a friend of mine, a good friend of mine who was, and still is, a big movie buff and was my movie friend back in New Jersey. His mom passed away 1 year ago tonight. So right before I came out here, he was texting me, and he's like, "Hey, you busy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm about to go do this." And I sent him a picture of this, and he goes, "Oh, the Chinese, that's awesome." He's going, I was just texting you because today's the 1 year, and I remembered that it was his mom thing. So I said, "Dude, when I get out there, we're gonna be on Hollywood Boulevard. It's the 200th episode of Fatman on Batman. We're gonna give your mom a shout out, man." And so this is for Vinny's mom. Give it up for Vinny's mom, who's been gone for 1 year. Okay. I think that's all the housekeeping we got.
I mean, we got a little bit of TCL stuff we got to talk
Let's
about.
do that,
We should
please.
talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to read?
You read it.
I'll read it. All right, I'll put on my best newscast, my heard with purred voice.
Okay.
We're broadcasting today from the world-famous TCL Chinese Theater in Hollywood, home of numerous major motion picture premieres and historic hand and footprints of cinema's biggest stars.
I love this place. I literally, I mean, this has been the easiest live podcast I've ever done in my life because I live 2 blocks from this place. So normally I'm always late. We were extra late because I'm so close. We could have walked here. So I've come here ever since I moved out here. I moved out here to Los Angeles about 15 years ago. This February it'll be 16 years that I've been living in Los Angeles, living right up the hill from here. One of the first things I did when I got here to town was bring my kid here, the same way my father and my mother took me here, to be like, this is Hollywood, and these people are immortal, and that guy is pissing on the sidewalk, so turn around, you know. But the Chinese theater, now the TCL Theater, Chinese Theater, is still breathtaking. And seeing a movie here, there's a multiplex kind of over in the Hollywood Highland complex, but seeing a movie here is still unparalleled. A lot of people like the Cinerama Dome. I love the Cinerama Dome, but this theater is majestic. You go in, it feels like you're in a goddamn movie theater. When movies ruled the world, that's what it feels like. And everything about it looks Hollywood and massive. And they don't make them like, nobody makes single screens anymore. It's a great place.
The first time I came to LA, I was 19 years old. By myself. I came here, I was on an internship at the Paramount lot, and I was living in temporary housing like 4 blocks up this way, Oakwood Apartments back in the day. And so by myself, I didn't have a car out here, I had a bike, I couldn't drink, I would just come here, I would walk down here. I remember seeing Unforgiven here, I saw Dracula here, this was like the summer of 92, 93 I think. And this place was a fucking cathedral of I'm lonely and I'm bored and come and show me something awesome. And so I would truck my ass down here and dodge the urine and the fingerprints and the Elmos, and I would come see a movie.
What year was it? The year Zach and Miri Make a Porno came out, we had our premiere here at the Chinese Theater, which was like, for me, the high point of my cinematic career. I'm like, oh my God, we're having a premiere at the Chinese. Then the movie came out and bombed. So I was like, at least I had that premiere at the Chinese. And then I got to come here earlier this year. Stan Lee got his footprints. He got his feet and hands here in the courtyard of the Chinese. So I got to MC the event and watch him put his hands in and stuff like that. It was kind of magical. So this place is, if you've never been to Los Angeles and you do come, you have to visit here. It's our, New York has the Statue of Liberty. We got the Chinese Theater.
Amen. All right, we got some news, man.
Let's get into the news.
Do we do Star Wars news or news?
Let's go Star Wars news.
We'll do Star Wars first. Star Wars, as we said, Lucasfilm is never going to stop making Star Wars movies.
Yeah. They better not. I mean, honestly, I know Disney paid a bunch of money for the Star Wars library. And I remember when they did, I was like, why would you pay that much money? They're done making those movies. That shows you what a terrible business person I am. So, they're going to make their money, all those billions they spent. 4 or 5, what did they spend on Star Wars? $4 billion?
It was $4 billion for Lucasfilm, yeah.
And clearly they're going to make that back by the time before they probably even get to the 3rd in the trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
Before they get to JJ's movie, I bet you they're back in what, in the black or the red? What do they say?
The black. The black is a good one.
Black's a good one. Back in the black. Somewhere Native American cries. Okay.
So they're going to be making more movies. And do you remember the guy who directed The Arrival?
Denis Villeneuve. Who did that? He did
Sicario
and Blade Runner.
And Blade Runner 2049. Wants to make a Star Wars movie.
Let him.
Yeah, he wants to. I think
give it to him. The Arrival is an amazing movie.
I think he wants to do one of the standalones. He doesn't want to get in the pipeline of a major episode, but he said it's something. Should I do this in a French accent?
Try.
All right, let's see. It's something that, again, I like.
Stop doing it in a French accent.
I would be intrigued. I don't know. It's je ne sais quoi. Very difficult. What is dangerous with Star Wars right now is to become its own vocabulary.
That's actually not bad.
It's not bad, right? Yeah. You thought I was going Clouseau. This wasn't as Clouseau.
You went Class E instead.
I went Class E. I went Poirot, not Clouseau.
What about, give him Boba Fett, right? The Boba Fett standalone movie.
It's just hanging on there.
Or does he get to do a more thinky Star Wars movie? Because his Arrival is a thinking person's movie.
Yeah, I mean, Sicario has a bunch of action in it,
Yes.
and he's good at it,
Yes.
but he's a cerebral director. So I don't know what a cerebral Star Wars story is, to be honest. Is it
Hammerhead from the Star Wars bar. It's like you start in Star Wars in the classic cantina scene, and then you kind of like see everybody. Then you push it on him, and he's just like, "Why am I a dick?" And it begins this like kind of self-meditation, like he looks at himself, reflective movie where you learn who this guy is. Why did he go to the bar that night? What happened afterwards after he saw somebody get their arm cut off? How does that affect him and shit? And he's just like, did that guy throw him a quarter? A quarter for a human life? What is the point of existence? Like, it could get very French. This would be perfect for Denis Villeneuve.
You sold it, man. You should go talk to him.
Done.
So yeah, will it happen? Who the fuck knows? They're still figuring out. I mean, Rian Johnson is going to have his own.
He gets his own trilogy.
He
did such a great job with Last Jedi. They're like, take all the Star Warses.
What do you want?
Yeah, and he gets to do his own trilogy. That's amazing.
Yeah, but for his trilogy, segue,
I set him up for that.
Oh, that was so
We're
good.
professionals.
This is only our 200th one of these, right?
I know, right?
We're just getting good at it.
Totally.
He's gone on the record by saying he has no idea what his trilogy is going to be yet. He's really early stages, just figuring it out. But he knows that it won't be Knights of the Old Republic.
So he's eliminated that as the option.
Yeah.
He must have heard the internet being, I bet it's going to be Knights of the Old Republic. And he wrote, fuck no. I wonder what he's going to do then. That seemed like the logical, like, go backwards, but maybe not. Or maybe you do the Clone Wars. I mean, we've seen it animated, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's funny. Star Wars is an odd franchise in that it's entirely backwards facing, for the most part. Like, all of the standalones are flashback episodes. Rogue One, Han Solo, young Han Solo. Wow, that dude's awesome. And even the episodes are about one family, a single family
Skywalker
in space.
saga.
Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Like, the big bad of these movies is Luke Skywalker's nephew. That's how kind of small the lens is.
Oh, of the new movies.
Yeah. So
That's what you think of Kylo Ren. You're like, that's Luke Skywalker's nephew. When you break it down like that, Star Wars sounds like Thanksgiving you don't want to go to. Call him his cool name, Kylo Ren, which isn't even that cool, but still, it's better than Luke Skywalker's nephew.
it's my nephew, Ben. Have you met Ben?
That's one of my favorite part of that movie, man. When they finally said his name, I grabbed my heart. I was like, oh my God, they named him after fucking Ben Kenobi. And think about what a magic trick that is, right? Like, she didn't know him. Nope. Princess Leia, she's like, General Kenobi, I think you worked with my dad once, you know? And Han Solo met him that day, you know, for like a day in space, and he was like, you're crazy, old man. And then one day they named their kid after him and shit. So those still waters run deep on Han Solo. All right, so then where does one go? Where do you speculate?
I mean, it feels as if it's still going to be within the continuity. I don't think he's pushing forward, because I think that's for episodes to do. But he said it's going to be a previously unexplored corner of Star Wars lore. So I don't know what the fuck that means. Maybe it's like Wookiee Planet. I don't know.
Or maybe a
Kashyyyk.
Yoda trilogy.
Ooh,
How Yoda becomes a Jedi Master and stuff.
that's kind of badass. I mean, I kind of want the fall of Jeddah. That would be kind of awesome. In Rogue One, remember the planet that used to be where they mined the kyber crystals to make lightsabers, but then the Imperials took it over and lots of people died, and then you get those two lovely gay couple who are like, we used to be the guardians of the Wills, or whatever that was. But yes, the fucking attack on Jeddah, the fall of Jeddah, would kind of be amazing.
That was the old Jedi planet.
Yeah.
God, you know a lot about Rogue One. Like deep cuts. Like
I spent some
somebody
time.
talks to me about Rogue One, I'm like, oh, Darth Vader showed up. But you know the names of the planets like I did when I was a kid and shit.
Yeah, I don't have much to do. I'm unemployed.
All right, where are we going next?
We have a little bit of DC Comics news.
Okay, so we're out of Star Wars land?
We'll loop back into Star Wars.
As always, everything returns to Star Wars.
Everything loops back to Star Wars. But there's been the Justice League movie. Did you guys see the Justice League movie?
Justice League, for those at home listening, it's playing right behind us, I think.
I know.
In the Chinese.
When we walked out, I heard Diana tell shit to Bruce. Wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you an asshole, Bruce?
It's happening. It's happening behind us still.
It's happening behind us. It is not happening that much in the box office, at least as much as Warner Brothers would like.
Okay.
To date, it's made about $210 million domestically. The Avengers opened to $215 domestically. Warner Brothers is not overwhelmingly happy with the way things are going, to the point where they're starting to...
Wait. You're going too fast.
I'm sorry.
And I was not prepared to do math.
Okay.
250. They've made $210 million in what, 3 weeks of release for Justice League?
Domestic, yeah.
And Avengers opened the weekend 3 days to 215. Yeah. So by even not being good at math, that's not good, right?
That's not great. It's made 500. And
that was years back.
Was
the Avengers was 6 years ago or something like that. So inflation, ticket prices up, and so that's not.
And
great.
Worldwide on Justice League is about 560, 570. The Avengers got to $1.5 billion, and it's not looking as if Justice League is going to get there.
Do you think Justice League is going to get to Wonder Woman? They did 700 and change, 800.
It is not looking that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Here comes the Warner Brothers helicopter. Shut the fuck up! Everyone loves it. Justice League forever, Avengers never.
But yeah, so they're starting to shake some shit up on the executive side. They've already removed one of the producers who was overseeing, a guy named John Berg, who was overseeing all of the DC stuff.
Are you shitting me? People are getting fired over this?
People are getting reassigned and probably promoted and getting paid more to do something else. Because that's
just walk away.
Just don't do it. Don't step away from the cowl.
Who's this person?
John Berg. He had produced. He helped bring them It, he has It under his belt.
Right.
But he segued to some kind of producing deal. But he's now out of the chute. Apparently, Jeff Johns is going to just consult on these as opposed to oversee the entire DC film slate. And it seems as if Zack Snyder is not in line to direct another superhero movie for Warner Brothers.
Whoa.
He'll have executive producing credits on Aquaman and probably on Flash, and he'll have some kind of credit on Wonder Woman 2, but it seems as if his time in the saddle is over.
I think those movies are going to age well. Maybe not well. They'll age better. Honestly.
They'll age.
Yeah. They aged me once or twice watching it. But I think there is a vision there that now is going to be a lot easier to see. If they ever put out his uncut version of Justice League. Because we talked about on the previous show, or one of the previous shows, this material was cut based on what we'd read online, and we had somebody in the audience who had actually been there for a test screening. It sounded like there was a cohesive vision there that at least really tied Man of Steel and Batman v Superman together that seems to have been kind of lost with the reshoots. So I hope they release his uncut version, even if they have to put in slugs for unfinished shot or whatever, right. Just so you could see him tell that story. But then I just read today that they're releasing a longer cut of Justice League, but with more Joss Whedon material. Is that what I read? Did you not read that?
I did not read that. You have news.
Maybe it's news, maybe it's somebody on the internet speculating, maybe it's fake news, but I think they said that I saw a cover for a Justice League DVD, and it said that it had over 50 minutes of cut material or bonus content or something, but and then somebody said it's the Whedon stuff. But this is real speculatory.
Right.
So maybe we shouldn't even throw that out.
And I know Warner's was not pleased with Steppenwolf as a bad guy. They just felt that ultimately the audience is not engaging with giant CG creatures that they've never heard of before and don't really ever going to hear of again.
Yeah.
And kind of look like a video game character and say dumb shit. So maybe less of that.
Right.
Mother, it's time.
It felt weird. Well, it felt obvious. We've talked about it before. He was just the predecessor to Darkseid. So it felt like a first act to something bigger. When they announced the Justice League movies back in the day, there was two of them. There was a part 1 and a part 2. And so it feels like Steppenwolf was I'm going to impress Darkseid. And then at the end of the movie, Darkseid was supposed to show up. And then all of part 2 would be Darkseid. And then they scrapped that plot somewhere along the way and just went to one Justice League movie and started pretending they'd never talked about a second Justice League movie. And somewhere along the way, somebody forgot to be like, let's switch the villains. Like, let's take Darkseid, that's more compelling, and stick this character into Justice League, the only Justice League movie we're gonna make. I didn't have that big a problem with Steppenwolf because I'm a New Gods fan, and I just like the idea that, like, oh my God, he said the word New Gods, like he said the word Darkseid. I'm a real easy mark, man. Like, as long as somebody in The Last Jedi goes, well, I'm the Last Jedi, I'm good. Like, ooh, they said it, like on the poster. So I got a real low bar and stuff. But I guess somebody had to get in trouble over that.
Yeah. So we'll see what they say that they're going to make the big changes starting in January. They still have an Aquaman movie in the can. They're planning Flashpoint, which might be Ben Affleck's last time as Batman.
What? Really?
Yeah.
So wait, they're going to use him as, if they do the real Flashpoint story, then he would, Batman kind of bookends it a little bit.
Right.
But they use
Thomas
Wayne through most of the movie. I wonder if he would play his dad, or if they'd get Jeffrey Dean Morgan
They could.
to play it.
They could.
Which will make it a 4-hour movie, because he stretches that dialogue out, man, on that Walking Dead show. Heavens. But that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So that's their idea, is to go do Flashpoint, and that'll fix everything.
Sorta.
That was Barry Allen's idea, and look what happened.
Run, Barry, run.
Run, Barry, run, indeed. What else we got?
We got the last bit is a cute little heartwarming story.
Okay.
You know that Carrie Fisher had a dog, right?
Yeah, Gary Fisher.
Gary Fisher, who he was at the Kansas City Comic-Con with us.
Yeah. I met him and took a picture with him. I met him and I was like, I knew your mom. And he was like...
He apparently has a cameo in The Last Jedi.
No!
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to cry. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's some pictures that went online, and I'm not going to say which ones because I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a scene, and one of the background characters is seen holding like a small kind of pug-like thing.
Space dog?
Space dog. And some keen online spotters tweeted to Ryan Johnson. He's like, is that Gary? And he's like, fuck yeah, it is. Good eyes.
Really?
So Gary Fisher is a nice little tribute.
That's kind of special, man.
That's kind of lovely.
That is actually really sweet. Yeah, she was a very big fan of that dog. And that dog was a very big fan of her, apparently, as well. That's kind of magical, man. That's the only downside to, and it's the upside as well, to watching this movie, is going like, this is it. This is the last time we get to see Carrie as Princess Leia. They said they're not going to use her via footage or anything in the last movie. So this is it. And I like seeing the billboard with her on it. She just looks beautiful and majestic, like every way you want to think about her and remember her and stuff. So it's a double-edged sword. It's going to be wonderful to see her playing the role, but sad because she don't get to do it again after that. Fuck, I brought the room down, man.
Seriously, dude.
I know, but it's a bummer. All right, so that's the end of the news?
That's the end of the news.
All right, so let's bring the room up. Marc and I have not seen The Last Jedi. Recently, this week, I think it was last night, there was an episode of the TV show Speechless on ABC, which I guest starred on, and on the episode, they were having the premiere of The Last Jedi, and the kids were going, and I helped them get into the theater. Just like if you've ever seen at one point, and I played myself. I'm Kevin Smith. I played myself on Degrassi years ago as well. I'm Kevin Smith. So I have this secondary career where I hang around children and go, I'm Kevin Smith. And I help get them out of jams and shit like that. And
Get in the van. I'm Kevin Smith.
Yeah, no vans for me.
I love Star Wars.
Who am I, Grimlock? I ain't got no fucking van. So
You came in that thing? You're braver than I thought.
nice. Fuck, why'd I bring it up? Why'd I bring up Speechless?
I don't know.
Oh, because I was in it, and they had a fake premiere for The Last Jedi. So they built it on the Fox lot and stuff, and which is weird because it's Fox and not anymore.
Yeah.
But some Fox executives were looking out of their windows like, she used to be our girl. And so we had this fake premiere, and it was real cool and stuff. And now the real premiere is coming up,
Yeah,
but I
Saturday.
can't go. I'm going to be in Colorado on tour, so I'm going to miss it. Are you getting to go or no?
I am not. I'm not that cool anymore. I'm going to a screening on Monday, though.
So you're seeing it
Monday.
this Monday?
Monday coming.
So you'll see it before me.
Yeah.
Now
We whisper all that shit to you. It's like, here's what happens.
I don't give a fuck that you can spoil it. I'm not one of those people. Like, there are badges. He can't spoil it here. He hasn't seen it yet. But there are badges that the Lining Up folks give out that are color-coded. And they're color codings to distinguish what level of spoiler you allow in your life. So they gave me a green one. I thought it was like, is this for stoners? And they're like, no. It just means that you're cool with spoilers and stuff. But there's a red badge that means like,
nothing.
I've never seen a trailer. I don't know who I don't even know what Star Wars is. So don't tell me nothing.
I just like camping.
I always wanted to sleep on the streets.
The hobo life's for me.
Got my bindle stiff and I'm ready to go. Okay, so the idea that we came up with is we don't know anything more about the Last Jedi than what we've seen in trailers. So I suggested we both write what we think is a scene in The Last Jedi. Based on what we've seen from the trailers alone. So speculatory, fan fiction. This is how the fucking 50 Shades of Grey got written. So you don't know where this could turn us into publishing magnates. But the idea is, what do they call it? Fan fiction. You and I taking a stab at Star Wars scenes.
Which they'll never let us do ever again.
Yes, since no one will let us make a Star Wars movie. This is what ours would be like. You want to go first? Or you want to go?
I can go first. If
I
you want.
texted you the script.
Did you?
Yeah. Do you have your phone?
I do.
All right, but you printed it out.
I did. Like I was prepared and shit.
Yeah, I know. You're
All right. So I think Kev. There's two characters in this. There's Luke Skywalker that Kev is going to play, but I need a Rey. Yeah, now you, buddy. Who wants to come up here and read for Rey? No, that's just nasty. Ooh, here, you. There we go.
You can do it in a.
I mean, if you
can do it in a British accent. That'd be amazing.
All right, so those.
What's your name?
Tatiana.
Everyone, give it up for Tatiana, man.
Thank you. All
Those are
right.
yours.
Do you have aspirations to act? Have you ever acted before?
I have acted before, but I shouldn't say that because that raises the expectations.
Oh my
So-
God, I hadn't thought about that. I should have been like, you've never done this before,
Yeah,
have you?
I don't even know how to read, so
This is
prepared.
keep the bar low. This is good, man. You get to act like right on Hollywood Boulevard and shit. Like
Yeah.
that.
Fucking A.
Fucking
In
A.
a Star Wars movie.
in a Star Wars movie. Wow.
All right, so
that's a dream.
are you directing?
Yeah, I'm going to read the screen directions. You're Luke and you're Rey.
Give me some character direction.
Just be fucking Luke Skywalker, man.
But what's his motivation?
It's the same advice my mother gave me when I was a child. Just fucking be Luke
Does
Skywalker.
he feel like the Last Jedi, or does he feel like I'm the Last Jedi?
I think he still feels like he's grumpy on an island somewhere.
Were you asking for me or for you?
Well, I want to know your motivation for you, but that helps my motivation.
Let me tell you something. I've been in the movie business 20 years. I never asked a question that smart. That's a really smart fucking character question. No wonder I'm not good at this. All right, here we go. Take us there. I'm Luke.
You're Luke.
All right.
Exterior, weird space island in the middle of an ocean. Day.
I seen that in the trailer.
Yeah, right? Luke Skywalker has been dreading this moment. He's avoided ever since Rey found him, a movie ago. As he descends a flight of stairs from his rock-hewn eyrie towards a craggy seaside plateau, he sees it, the Millennium Falcon. Very much worse for wear, looking like a tarnished relic amongst the rolling blue waters and windswept grasses. Luke walks toward the lowered gangplank, hesitates for just a second, and steps aboard. Interior, Millennium Falcon. He walks down the dimly lit corridor, slowly, lightly, like he's afraid to wake someone. Luke looks up at the turret cockpit. Perhaps we hear the faintest echo of, "Don't get cocky." He smiles just a little, moves on.
Fuck, man, I like your movie. You took it serious.
His metal hand gently scrapes across the top of the hollow chessboard. That's you.
And Luke says to himself, let the Wookiee win.
You can just say it.
Let the Wookiee win. Hey, fucking don't direct me, man. But yes, you're right. I could have just said it. Next time I won't read the screen direction out loud.
Interior Millennium Falcon cockpit. Luke steps into this chamber and looks around, smaller than he remembers it. He reaches over and flicks a switch. The lights and indicators all hum to life.
This ship. Every time I'm on this ship, I've lost something.
As Luke steps in further, moving towards the pilot seats, we see Rey standing behind him in the doorway.
The first time I'd lost my family, my home.
Luke flicks the small pair of gold dice hanging from the ceiling.
The second time I lost Obi-Wan.
Luke sits in the driver's seat. The camera pays special attention to his metal hand on the controls.
The third time I'd lost, well, something else. I added that bit.
Yeah, nice job.
I improv that bit. Like I'm in a Judd Apatow movie and shit. I'm a new Seth Rogen. Just
On the day, I'm just going to do this. Is that cool?
Yes.
Luke turns to face Rey for the first time. Behind him, through the cockpit windows, we see the turbulent waters.
And the last time, I'd lost Ben to the dark side.
Kylo Ren.
Luke nods almost imperceptibly.
What will I lose today?
He shakes off his melancholy and smirks, just a little.
And you found her, junked on Jakku, and brought her back. I'm surprised Han let it out of his sight again. If there's anything he loves more than himself.
Luke, I thought you'd know. Maybe the Force would tell you or something.
On Luke, as realization dawns, as the answer to the question he didn't ask presents itself, and the raging ocean waters behind him stop, frozen in place. Such power.
How?
But before Rey can answer,
I have failed the Father as I have failed the Son. The circle is now complete. Fuck, this is sad, man.
What's happening?
God damn it. I'm not a good enough actor to pull this off.
the waves crash, released from their hold.
The world is worse for me being in it. Everyone I touch dies. Parents, friends, loved ones, all dead because of me. You should leave, Rey. Take the ship and go.
Kylo Ren and the First Order will destroy hundreds of planets and kill billions. If everything you touch dies, then there's one more thing left on that list. Help me defeat him and give General Organa a fighting chance.
Luke stands and turns to leave
That's
the
pretty
cockpit.
badass.
That was good. Well
She
done.
was like, fucking kill Kylo Ren.
Yeah. We all want that.
Luke stands and turns to leave the cockpit.
There are two more. And if I cross my sister's doorway again, I fear it will be for the last time.
Luke exits, leaving Rey alone in the cockpit.
Sister?
Boom! Over.
Wow. There it is. Give it up for Marc's scene.
Yeah.
And give it up for Tatiana, man. What a performance. You want to stick around for the next one? We got a Rey performance in this one as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you get the script?
I got the script.
I will stick around
All right.
then.
Now,
If you-
Marc's was really good.
Is this yours?
This is mine, and mine is not. Mine's kind of goofy.
That sounds unlike you.
I know. All right, let's see. Can you read this? We all have to
I
share
can try.
this.
All
Okay,
right.
you're playing Rey. In my version, Marc, you're playing Luke,
Okay.
and I am playing the Supreme Leader Snoke.
Okay.
Wow.
I wrote what I assume will be the final scene of The Last Jedi, but I didn't write it as good as you wrote yours. Here we go. I'll be the guy reading the screen directions, and I'll read Snoke, you read Luke, and you will read
Rey.
Rey.
All right.
Here we go. Interior, Supreme, and mind you, this is not what happens, but it could happen. So if you don't want it spoiled, if you got a red badge, fuck off. Here we go.
Fantasy spoilers.
Fantasy spoilers. Interior, Supreme Leader Snoke's chamber, night. Old man Luke enters with Rey. The doors hiss closed behind them. A path illuminates, leading to a seated Snoke. And Snoke says, I don't know, how does his voice go?
It's a bit Gollum-y, I think.
Yeah.
Sound like Andy Serkis? All
Yeah.
right. Welcome, young Jedi. Mine sounds more like the Emperor.
Yeah, you went there.
For my version, Snoke is going to be played by the Emperor.
He's basically the Emperor.
Welcome, young Jedi. And welcome, old-ass Grizzly Adams-looking Jedi. Luke and Rey ignite their lightsabers.
We've come to bring balance to the Force, Snoke, and to make another $1 billion at the box office.
But before we do that, we want the truth from you, Snoke.
We want you to tell us who you really are.
And don't say Andy Serkis.
We mean who you really are in this trilogy.
Snoke growls a sinister chuckle. Then he rises from his throne and descends the stairs, addressing the pair. You don't recognize me, Luke Skywalker? Of course you don't. Why would you? You never looked back that day, so you never saw what was coming this day.
So you're really the Riddler? What are you talking about, you motion caption monster?
You know what? As a director, I got to step in. I think your old man voice is ruining my fucking script. I really do. I took your shit seriously, man. And you come on like the old prospector? Fuck this. I want more respect for my material. We're going back to the top. God damn it.
All right, okay. Back to one, everybody.
You're like fucking Affleck, just shitting all over my work. All right, here we go. Fucking take 2 of this shit. Treat it right. I know Mark Hamill. I can get the real guy if I wanted to. Maybe not this year, but fucking back in 2001. All right, here we go. We'll take it right from that. We'll take it from you don't recognize me. You don't recognize me, Luke Skywalker? Of course you don't. Why would you? You never looked back that day, and you never saw what was coming this day.
So you're really the Riddler? What are you talking about, you motion capture monster?
He sounds more like Lando, but I'll take it. You gotta sound like Luke, man.
Racist. I don't know.
I don't think it was racist at all. He literally sounded like Lando.
Cool. I'm gonna just do it as Lando.
All right. I'll take that performance, I guess. Go for Farm Boy.
Oh my.
I'm from the Bronx, man. I don't do Farm Boy.
All
Just
right.
like a deep
Yo,
Southern
Mr.
accent.
No.
No, you know what?
I feel like your first one was good.
The first one wasn't bad, right?
Yeah.
With the prospector voice?
Fucking Wilford
No,
Brimley.
from the very beginning. Just like your very first Snoke that sounded like Gollum.
Yes.
That was good, and then it's like you both sort of,
Why are you critiquing me? All right, here we go.
All right, what are we doing now?
I'm going to take it from your line. I have remade myself as Supreme Leader Snoke, but I wasn't always a Sith Lord. We knew each other in another life, old Jedi. We fought the Empire beside one another.
Oh my God, are you Han Solo? We all thought your emo bitch of a son killed you in the first movie.
No, I'm not Han Solo. Han Solo you cared about. Me you left behind. You crushed my spirit, and the rest of me too. Hint, hint.
Ben Kenobi?
Not Ben Kenobi. Let's just say I thought I could take on the whole Empire by myself. Hint, hint. On Hoth. Hint, hint.
Leia?
God damn it. Skyfucker, you got more midichlorians than brains, man. I am Dak. Dak from The Empire Strikes Back. Or if you saw that scene where I got smushed, The Empire Strikes Dak. Hard. Right in the dick they hit me.
Dak! No way, I checked you before I abandoned the snowspeeder. You were dead.
I was napping. You could have tried a little harder to drag me out of there. That's how I got this giant gash on my head. Fucking rebels.
You got that scar on your head from fucking rebels?
You know what? Fuck this. Snoke takes Luke out with a lightsaber, and then he says to Rey, "You're the last Jedi." And credits.
wow.
Now, if the movie doesn't end like that, I'm gonna be so disappointed, man. All right, we're done with you. Give it up for Tatiana, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent job. Okay, we've done the news, we've done a little bit of sketch comedy, and now we're going to turn to you guys, the audience, for Q&A. So we'll take 5 questions. Do we have shit to give out or not?
You gave away all the chips.
Yeah, oh my God, that should have been the prize. Well, I always come prepared anyway. So here, we got 4 really cool Star Wars cups that I bought at a store. And I haven't used them yet, but I took them out of the box. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 questions, and that's unless we got other shit. No, we don't.
I mean, we can't give away a TV for a question, so.
Not for a question.
No.
And is that aspect of it taken care of? Do you need us to sell chances or whatever to the TV? Do you guys want to?
Kevin, we'll have you guys pull a ticket after we do Q&A.
After
Okay.
Q&A. But
Yeah.
have they sold enough, or should we be like, hey, man, here's your last chance to get the TV?
I think we're okay.
All right.
Well, how LA casual are you? You're like, don't beg, we're good.
It's fine.
Those Starlight kids, they have enough.
So yeah, there's a mic right in the middle. So line up. The first 4 get cups.
Well, only if your question's really good. It's got to be a
True.
really good question. It's also got to go for both me and Mark. It can't just be me. You can't just get up there and be like, why did you make that walrus movie? Oh, what are these?
Challenge coins in perpetuity, 10% off.
Is that right? All right, so these are challenge coins from Scum and Villainy, the Scum and Villainy Cantina, where we normally do the show, right down the street here on Hollywood Boulevard. And JC said they're challenge coins, which mean you get what? 10% off?
10% off your bill.
10% off your bill for life?
Show it for life.
At the
Wow.
bar? All right, so now we got 3 more. All right,
We
so
got 7 questions.
We got 7 questions. There we go. And the first question is going to be you, good sir. Take us there.
Well, congratulations on 200 episodes, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
So I got a question. My question is, where do you think the rift is between the DC universe on television and the DC universe for the movies? What do you think? Because they're killing it with the TV shows, and they're pretty much right on the money. And then you have the movie universe that's just taken a complete left turn. What do you think? What do you guys both think is the reason for that?
That's a great question. Come pick a prize. Give it up for that question, ladies and gentlemen. It will generate conversation.
It will.
Here's what I think, man. Wow, you just knew which one you wanted, man. You didn't even look. You're like, done. Well
Red
done.
5.
Here's what I think. I think on TV, you don't have as much money to do what you could do in a movie. When you make one of those movies, generally the budget's what, 100 to 200 million to tell 1 2-hour story. An average episode of Flash or Supergirl, I've worked on both, so I know this much, about $4 million an episode, which you got to do 23 times a year. So I'm not good at math. Somebody do the math. 23 times 4 million is what? So close to 100 million to do an entire series, an entire season of television that tells a story that spans 23 hours. And it still doesn't even come close to what they'll pay to make one of those giant movies for the studio. So in that world, since you don't have all the money to make everything look as beautiful or as clever or as, look at what a mind fuck that is, because that's what a movie is, right? You watch a trailer and they show you a scene that you're like, I will leave my house and I will go somewhere that I don't want to be and sit with people I don't know and overpay for popcorn because I need to see that on a big screen. That's the magic of films, of movies, right? TV is the promise of this is going to keep going. Like, you got to watch this, and then you're going to see another story next week, and then you're going to see another next story next week, and we're going to keep you company while you're going to school or during the work year or whatever the fuck, and then we're going to fuck off during the summer and come back and do it all over again. And in order to make that work, it ain't about spectacle. It's not about, look at these amazing things. Although on those shows, like, they'll show you Flash running fast and fighting villains, and you'll show you Supergirl flying and stuff. But it's only about a third of what that show is. Those shows are built on 3 H's: heart, heroics, and humor. Heart is the relationships between the characters. You like these people. You genuinely like that they like each other, and you tune in every week because you're like, they're like family to me. I like their relationships. Humor, they usually got some funny stuff going on, not like knee slamming gut buster, but enough humor for you to stick around, or at least take a sense of humor with the source material, because some of it tends to be ridiculous. And then heroics, sooner or later, the boy's gonna solve all his problems by fucking running real fast. And that's what some people tune in for. Like, there's a little taste of that visual flavor that you find in a movie. And they've been expanding that on those CW shows. Back when they did Smallville, they didn't have like CG effects. There was a lot of like fake metal and air guns and stuff like that, and you were satisfied with that. But now that you've seen, the Avengers, it's tougher to get you satisfied with that. So they'll spend a little more money on effects, but not nearly as much as they could spend on a movie. So what they lack in that muscle, they make up for in the muscle of, like, we gotta love these characters. You gotta fall in love with this world. We gotta plot a story that has to stretch 23 episodes versus like a story that has to stretch only 2 hours. You get to meet those characters. You get to go deep into their lives. You can't go deep in the life of Bruce Wayne and Justice League because there's 96 other characters they got to service as well. But if you had 23 hours to tell that story, you'd fall in love with those characters. So they could go deeper into them and stuff. So I think that's where the difference is. Like, they got oddly enough, less time in doing those TV shows because they finish an episode like maybe 3 days before it hits air. They've got it built like an assembly system. As one episode is finishing, the next stop is starting, and they go hard for like, months until they've got 23 done. Movie schedule is much more leisurely, and most of the heavy lifting is done by a bunch of people behind computers making things come to life that aren't really there. So I think it has to do more with that. Like at the end of the day here, to put it in these terms, like I'm not a well-hung man, so I had to learn to do other things. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I couldn't just be like, look at this. Well, nobody should ever. But I had to like learn to use different muscles instead because I couldn't play the game, like others could or whatever. So what you lack, you make up for in other areas. And on those shows, they make up for it with rich character development, where you'll follow those characters for like 10 years, like in some cases. What do you think?
It's a lot of what he said. But it's also the idea that you cannot throw money at the problems you have on television. You cannot fix it by saying, we'll do it in post. We'll throw more effects on it. Whatever. It's the problems need to be solved on the page. And TV is about characters. You're inviting characters into your lives. It's far more intimate than movies are. You're going out. You're leaving the comfort of your home to go to the movies. You're inviting characters into your house. You're watching them from your bedroom. And so you're forming a bond with those characters the way you're not actually with movie characters. And you cannot solve those problems by throwing money at them. They has to be on the page. They have to be smart. And that's the way you get creative problem solving, and that's the way you fall in love with somebody you're going to tune into for 4, 5, 6 years, over and over again.
There's the secret, man. So obviously we know what to do. They should just hire us.
Yeah.
No, but clearly that's where like TV has it all over movies. They got time to like burrow into your heart and soul. Movie makers got to get it done in 2 hours or less and make an impact and steal your heart and then get you in your car, on time to go back to your life. But you're right, man. It's the intimacy of inviting people friends who are on TV into the home as you sit there and watch it. This is going to sound very name-droppy, but we're in Hollywood, so it stands to reason. Years ago, there was a movie called Good Will Hunting that I was an executive producer on, so I got to meet Robin Williams, and we were outside a bar in Toronto where they were shooting. And so as we were heading into the bar, there were people across the street like lined up watching and shit, and people were yelling out, "Marc! Marc!" And they were talking about Mork from Mork, like a character he fucking played on Mork and Mindy in the 70s. And when we were making Good Will Hunting, it was 97 or something like that. So you're talking about a show that is almost, at least 15, maybe 20 years old. My math may be off. So I said, man, like, wow, that's crazy. Like, he's done a bunch of things. Like, I would imagine people would be like, "Good Morning Vietnam" or something like that. Anything closer than fucking Mork. And he goes, "No, man, it'll always be Mork because Mork was in their houses." He's like, "I've been in a bunch of movies, but like Mork came to them every week." He's like, "From now until day I die, I will be Mork to a lot of people." And it's true. It's like you're inviting cats into your home, man. They're a big part of your life. Think about how much you build your week around that schedule. Like there are shows I watch with my wife where I'm like, we're putting everything aside and this is our fucking time, man, because that's our program, as if we made it. And we didn't, because if I made it, it'd be off the air. So, all right, we're good with that one.
We're good with that one.
Jump to the next question. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. I want to thank you guys for all the funny and all the geekdom. And
Thank you.
my first question, and I have two things. What are you guys' thoughts about Marvel and Fox coming together? What's coming next? And I actually made some posters, Star Wars included, for both of you guys.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my
and
God.
I want to know if I could present it to you.
Yeah, oh my God. Give it up for the poster man. And take a prize, because we'll definitely answer that question. Do you want to take it out and show folks or no?
You guys can show it for
Okay. You're like, you do it. All right, I will.
I fucking made the poster. At least you can do is open a fucking
I did
tube.
my part. At least you can do a show it. Unroll this while we're starting.
Yeah. Excuse me while I whip this out.
Okay. Last month they whimsied, or a couple weeks ago, they whimsied about Disney buying a bunch of Fox IP. This week, and we talked about it on the show on Tuesday. It looks like it's going for. Oh, that's beautiful. Hold it up so folks could see. That's one, and then there's another under it, I think. They've since announced that it's going forward. That's beautiful. That's a Pulp Fiction-y looking one. That's awesome. Do another. Do them all. What is that? Oh, this for Get Out. Very nice. Where can they find your artwork?
Yeah, he's a talented motherfucker. Man.
Just yell it out. Where can they hear?
My name's Brandon Gash. You could find me on Instagram, brandon.gash.
Really nice stuff. Give
Those,
it up for...
all those posters I designed and drew.
You did?
Yeah.
I will hire you, sir. Give it up for Brandon. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God, it's a mugwai. Okay, they've since announced that it's happening. That Disney is, the final announcement hasn't happened, but for $60 billion, ooh, that's nice. For $60 billion, they're buying a bunch of Fox properties. Hey! And that includes, of course, what everyone's most excited about is the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, are going to be rejoined with the other Marvel characters in the Marvel family. I hear you. And then that also means that the Simpsons, oh, that's awesome. Probe. It also means the Simpsons, the X-Files, Planet of the Apes, a bunch of stuff is going to be owned by Disney now. I think we talked about it on the show the other night. I think it's, as a fan, I'm happy as fuck. Like, yay, they're gonna bring all the Marvel universe together. Deep cuts down the road, I know I'm 47 now. By the time I'm 70, Disney has enough IP to just cross everything over. So fucking Luke Skywalker is gonna meet, Magneto, and in Thanos' backyard. Like, they'll be able to, and Mickey Mouse will be there as well. So they'll be able to do a mega crossover with all the IP they own. But Marc pointed out, go ahead, take the other side.
The way the motion picture industry works, the way creative business works, is if I have a script that I want to sell, I now have 6 buyers to go to, 6 giant movie studios who all could pay for it. If one of them goes away, it affects in a really big way the economics of Hollywood. There's one less buyer. There's one less people giving folks jobs. And somebody pointed out online today I hadn't even thought of, if Disney buys Fox, it is not just that they paint over the signs on the Fox lot that now say Disney. A bunch of people are going to get fired because Disney is not a redundant company. It's like, we have distribution. We don't need Fox's distribution. We have dudes who drive trucks. We don't need your guys who drive trucks. We're Disney. We have all the animation we need.
Oh, that's right. So
we might not need your animation company, Simpsons, whoever you've been using for 30 years. Like, they will look for places to cut and make it more efficient, and they don't want double redundancies. So there's going to be a lot of people who will eventually lose their jobs if this happens. But yeah, we get X-Men Avengers. That's awesome. But
way to ruin it for everybody, man. You're like, yes, we will get a crossover, but a lot of people are going to lose their jobs behind this.
Everything comes with a price.
It's true. So is a good thing and a bad thing, like many things in life, like a positive and a negative. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, which kind of sucks that somebody has to lose. Because it sounded like we were all going to win.
I know. What?
I know. Like, oh my God, we all want this so bad. But there are a bunch of people at Fox who were like, no!
Yeah, I want to see the Mulder and Scully where they find Dark Phoenix episode.
I'm telling you, man, think of the crossovers they could do. It's astounding. All right, let's do another one.
Did he get
How
a
are
cup?
you, my friend?
Hello.
Yeah, he did. He came.
Hey!
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm so great.
Me too, so fucking good.
Oh, good. Okay. Hi.
Was that the question?
So I've been like re-asking this to myself over and over, but I guess the best way I can put it, a lot of people see Harrison Ford as Han Solo, and with regards to the Solo movie,
The young Solo movie, yeah.
Young Solo. I know that I would like it to be basically just like a longer Star Wars version of the opening to The Last Crusade.
What a great idea.
Right?
This belongs in a museum.
Exactly. And then like he gets the scar on his chin and shit like that.
Yes.
Anyway, I was just
Think
wondering.
about that. Let's put a pin in that real quick.
Dude, let's
that
do it.
was the original fan service scene. Like that opening to Last Crusade was them going, come on, let's give them everything they want. We're going to see how he gets the scar. We're going to see why he don't like snakes. We'll see where he gets the fucking hat. Oh, they'll fucking love it. They'll slap their fins together like the seals they are. And they did. I remember seeing that in the theater as a kid and being like, oh, it's happening. Like, that was the earliest memory, I think, of a movie where they're like, let's do it. Let's give the fans every little piece that they want. We've built up enough backstory where we can do this. And then it eventually led to, nuking the fridge, but we won't go that far.
Never.
I was just wondering what your feelings were about that, maybe if you had any predictions and how you felt about Ron Howard taking over the movie halfway through production.
I wonder. I mean, we heard, of course, that the geniuses behind the Lego Movie and what was the other? And the
21 Jump Street.
And the 21 Jump Street franchise, Lord and Miller.
Yeah.
I thought they were great choices for the movie, and then they got shit canned, and then they said Ron Howard's going to come finish the movie, and then they shot for a longer than it felt like. Initially, they were like, there's 2 weeks left, and then it felt like they shot for much longer than that. And the indication, I never worked on a big expensive movie, but I know people that have. The indication there, or the implication there, is that maybe they shot more than the last 2 weeks. Maybe there are some changes made, and we've read stories or heard stories about who jumped out. Omar coming.
Yeah.
Michael Williams?
Michael K. Williams.
Michael K. Williams was in the movie originally, and now he's not in the movie. He couldn't come back for the reshoot, so they just took his character out. And then they added a few actors that weren't in there in the first run. So it seems like maybe they're doing a lot more work than initially indicated, which is not, the scariest thing in the world, because that's what we heard right before Rogue One. As they were in production with Rogue One, they were like, they shut down, they're going back, now there's another director, blah, blah, blah. And that turned into a wonderful flick, like a really enjoyable Star Wars movie. So maybe we'll get some of that here as well. I mean, Ron Howard, no slouch in the director's chair, by any stretch of the imagination. And the dude made Willow, and if you watch Willow, it's pretty much a Star Wars movie. So I think it's in good hands. It's kind of shitty they took it away from those two guys. I would have liked to have seen a Star Wars movie that had a real sense of humor about itself. And these movies always have a sense of humor to them, but one that was kind of a little meta or whatever they were planning on doing. But I guess we're never going to see that version. But, Ron Howard's version, I'm sure, will be completely fun and watchable.
That's going to be like the new Buried in the Lost Ark, is who's got the Miller and Lord cut, and how can I fucking watch it?
You'll never get that cut, man. No. They'd have to sneak that shit out in a droid. They'll never let us see that. All right, we good? Come and get a prize. You get a prize, man. Give it up for him. Great question, ladies and gentlemen. And then we go to you.
What's going on? Star Wars! Let me start off with that. Are you guys pro-porg or anti-porg, and how do you think porgs would taste?
That deserves a prize. Come up and get.
Pro-porg or anti-porg?
I am pro-porg. They look adorable. I think it's a good, clearly somebody's trying to sell a toy, but I don't care. They look cute. As long as they function, well in the story. In my head, they all assemble into a monster porg. I'm sure that's not what's going to happen and shit, but I know there is an anti-porg contingency out there. I live in a house with an 18-year-old kid who loves animals, so when she saw the porg, she was like, porgs, they look like bunnies, and she has a bunny, so it's very pro-porg in the house. What about you?
I am cautiously pro-porg. I'm hoping that they don't veer into Ewok territory.
Fuck Ewoks, just don't let them be Jar Jar, for heaven's sakes. I'll take Ewoks.
I'm gonna say they taste of baby seal.
Oh my God, you lost the audience for us.
And if you've never had a baby seal, it tastes like chicken. So,
if I had to guess what they taste like, they taste like when you eat them, they don't die, they live forever. Had to save us from your fucking baby seal comment.
That's a dude who has to go home.
Truly. All right, here we go. Over to you, my friend.
How you doing?
Hey.
Awesome.
Okay, so thinking back on your life, what was the moment that you can remember you probably knew a little bit too much about Star Wars?
I know exactly when it was for me, and it changed my life to a large degree. I was at film school in Canada. I went to the Vancouver Film School. And I met this guy, Scott Mosier, who wound up producing a lot of movies. I do a podcast with him called Smodcast. Scott and I had similar sensibility. When Samir was talking about finding his tribe, this is definitely a moment when I found my tribe, when I sat down and talked to that guy. We had a similar sense of humor. And Star Wars, this is at a time, now you jump on the internet and just enter Star Wars and anyone's willing to tell you what they think about it, good and bad. This was at a time where they were just some old movies that, there was no talk of making more of them and stuff. That was that. Every once in a while, they'd make an Ewok TV movie, and that was that. So I remember I watched, I had a lot of free time living in Vancouver because you only had school a certain amount of time during the day. And I brought my entire Laserdisc collection with me, and so I had the trilogy. So one night I watched the trilogy back to back. And then the next day, him and I were at school, and we went to this little coffee shop. He drank coffee and stuff. I didn't, so I watched him drink coffee. And we sat there talking. And so I said, you know what I watched last night? I watched all the Star Wars movies. And he goes, oh, I love those movies. I said, which is your favorite? And essentially the conversation that's in Clerks started there, where Dante and Randall are talking about Empire and Jedi. Started in that conversation in the coffee shop. So him and I were sitting there talking about Star Wars, but breaking it down. Like my theory was like, I was watched all 3 movies, and I'm pretty sure I got it down to a science now. I think the Empire is a theocracy. It's a religion, a government based on faith, based on a religion, and the Emperor is kind of like the Pope. I don't know what Darth Vader is, but like, it's weird when you look at it through that prism. So Scott and I started talking about the religion of Star Wars, and I started talking about terrorists and people who have strange beliefs, like hence the destruction of the Death Star. So the Death Star conversation from that movie kind of started in that space. And there was a guy who was sitting at a table away from us who I could see out of the corner of my eye. And as we talked about Star Wars, like the dude stopped reading his paper and then started leaning forward and listening to what we were saying. And I saw him eavesdropping, and the more I saw him eavesdrop, the more ridiculous we would take the conversation. And I saw his expression at one point be like, they don't understand Star Wars at all, you know? So I remember I was like, wow, that made an impact. So when I wrote Clerks like a year later, I started writing that Star Wars stuff into it, particularly for that feeling of like, oh shit, like somewhere out there somebody's gonna be like, yeah man, that's how I used to think about those movies. So that was the moment where I realized I know way too much about Star Wars. When I described it as a theocracy, I was like, you're overthinking this shit. But thankfully, the world moved in that direction. Like, you know, in we're talking 92, you know, there were a bunch of people that were like, as Samir said, like, you didn't talk about Star Wars with just everybody. It wasn't, you didn't assume people still cared about those movies and stuff. So it completely shifted for me when I saw a stranger eavesdropping on our conversation. I was like, oh, people still care about this shit. And so I wrote that into the script, and Star Wars, like, that is the scene that most people remember from that movie the most. That was my bridge to the world. That got me out of New Jersey. Not that I was trying to get out, but it took me around the world. And like, first time, I've told the story many times, I went to France for the Cannes Film Festival with that movie. They told me after the screening, they're like, you're gonna sit down with a French journalist from Cashiers du Cinema, which is a very, you know, fucking hoity-toity film magazine over in France. And I was like, I don't speak French, so like, he doesn't speak English either, so it's good. And I was like, well, what are we gonna talk about? Like, what would he be interested in this movie that was shot in New Jersey and stuff? They're like, he desperately wants to talk to you. So I met him in the cafe, and he looked French as fuck, had a beret, little mustache, and he was smoking a cigarette like this, almost like a joint. And so I sat down, I was like, bonjour, and the dude looked at me, and he goes, Jay and Silent Bob, they are not like R2-D2 and C-3PO, no? And I was like, oh my God, he's a brother from another mother. My international Star Wars buddy. And we sat there talking about Star Wars. That was what he liked most about Clerks. He was like, you talked about the Star Wars. And I was like, yeah, man, because nobody was really talking. We didn't have the internet. If we waited 10 minutes, the internet was coming, we'd all talk about Star Wars again. But this was at a time where like he too was frustrated at the lack of Star Wars conversation. And even though we didn't speak the same language, we just sat there relating via Star Wars. Like I was just like, at one point it came down to music. He was like, Star Wars. I said, yeah, Star Wars, right? Dun, 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 dun. And he went, dun, 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 dun. We were like, dun, 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 dun. Bridged cultures, man, because of that movie. That's when I realized, and I know a lot about Star Wars. It's my like icebreaker now internationally. I just go up to foreign people and be like, Star Wars. It doesn't work the same as it did back then, but that was fun. You?
First, my French accent's better than your French accent.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I think for me, I was working at Entertainment Weekly at the time in the late '90s. And the first trailer for Phantom Menace broke. Which
Great
whatever,
trailer.
Whatever the movie ended up being, the trailer's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And like we all just stopped working for 2 hours while we waited for it to download on our ancient Macintoshes. But I was sitting at this meeting, and everybody's talking about whatever, and somebody was like, we're talking about how we're going to cover the movie. Somebody's like, well, it's about Anakin Skywalker. What kind of fucked up name is Anakin? I'm like, well, it's actually named after Kenneth Anakin, a British documentarian that George Lucas was very fond of. And the room stopped. And everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, I know too much about Star Wars. Yes, you're editing all of the Star Wars stuff.
I gotta be honest with you, I didn't even know that. Well done, man. That's deep cuts and shit.
That's a deep cut.
That was a nerd test and you failed. Come up and get a prize, my friend. Give it up for this question. That was a great question. On to you, my friend. How are you? Thank you.
Hi, how you guys doing today?
So good. We
Excellent.
got 2 cups left.
Awesome. All right. My question to you guys are both great writers and great director. And I always wonder, you guys yes, you guys are great writers. And you guys love TV. So I always wonder, if you guys could travel back in the past and redirect or write a TV show, which one would it be?
Oh my God, what a great question. Come get a cup. That's fantastic.
So not to reboot something that already existed.
No, just go back in time and direct an episode of your favorite show or some show that you really like.
That's it? Just pick a show that I could have written an episode of?
Or that you would have liked to have written an episode for. That's fucking tough, man. Across my entire life, TV raised me. So I'm trying to think. Honestly, for me, I might go back and do an episode of Moonlighting, just to work with Bruce Willis before. But also, I just love the writing on that show. It was incredible. If you could pull off, I only wish I could be as good as some of those scripts were, or write as well as some of those scripts read. Fuck, I can't even speak, so obviously I can't write an episode of Moonlighting, but that would be it, man. I love the interplay between the characters. I would do an episode before they had sex, when the sexual tension was still high. That's kind of one of the lovely aspects of the show. If you've never seen Moonlighting, it's kind of like Castle. Same format, kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, no, very much so.
To some degree. What would you do?
Part of me wants to say Dukes of Hazzard.
Why?
Just so that I could go and say, y'all realize this is really fucking racist, right? And then just leave. This is fucked.
Bring in Cleavon Little to explain what they're doing. That's funny.
But I think it would be, it's a toss-up between Angel and Battlestar.
Battlestar Galactica. See, I couldn't pick that. I could never write that good.
Yeah.
That show was fucking brilliant.
It's brilliant. If I could have been in one writer's room ever, I think it would have been Battlestar. Just to fucking learn. Just to watch and see how they did that. Just to write dick jokes for people.
And that was, how many episodes did they do a season?
They did 10 the first season, miniseries, then 10, then 13, and then, yeah. So it was less than 13 every season.
Yeah, that is a fantastic show. But I don't think I would lean toward, as much as I love that run, I just don't think I could even touch it. Like, there were some bad episodes of Moonlighting where I'm like, I think I could do that. But there was never a bad episode of Battlestar.
Yeah. I mean, and Angel, especially once it sort of hit its stride by like third, fourth season, when they knew what the show was and sort of unchained a little bit from the rest of the Buffyverse in a way, and just became really fucking fun. I mean, there's an episode where Angel gets turned into a puppet, and he's a wee puppet man. And so just to be in that room with those mad geniuses going to work would be hilarious.
Very cool. All right, here we go. Last
question. You get a cup.
There's a cup.
Okay, so I'm going to leave on a Batman question. If you could make the next villain in a Batman movie be any of the obscure villains from the 50s and 60s, which one would it be? Like, I vote King Tut all the way. Like,
King Tut?
All the way.
So we can pull from the TV show as well. Who would I pull? Let me see. I would go with, I'm going to go with, you know what? He's not a villain, but I think he could make an interesting story. I'd go with Batmite. That way you kind of get to fuck with the eighth dimension a little bit, and you get to like unmake his world and kind of put him in weird situations. It would be like an acid trip version of Batman. Grant Morrison did it really well with his run. So I'd go with him. What about you?
I'm hoping the character is what I think the character's name is, Was it Egghead? Was that Vincent Price?
Vincent Price from the show Egghead.
I think there's real pathos to Egghead. I mean, what's it like growing up with that fucking head? Like it's the tragedy of Egghead. I think is it's operatic almost in its depth. So yeah, I'm going Egghead.
There it is. You win a cup. Come get a cup. Give it up for her, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, the TV
This is
round.
it? What is this? It's a Justice League can. Oh, it's for popcorn? Like a collectible popcorn tin? I would like this tin, man.
And I would like some popcorn.
That's kind of sweet. It's like a little garbage can. It's like they knew. I'm kidding, man. I like the movie. I paid to see it twice. All right, here we go, man. We are raffling off, or we're not, but the good folks here lining up around, and the TCL Chinese Theater, TCL particularly, are raffling this TV off. Credit where credit's due. And also a big round of applause for the TCL for letting us do this here tonight. This has been so fun.
It's a dream I didn't know I had coming true.
Isn't it crazy? Like, honestly, we only found out like last week. JC was like, would you guys ever want to do this at the Chinese? And we were like, what do you mean? And JC was like, we could do a show in the courtyard. And I was like, I never imagined I would ever do that. That's the closest I'll get to get my feet in here and shit like that. So yeah, let's do it. And when you heard, were you like,
yeah, like there's no framing what the fuck this is.
Yeah.
But it's awesome.
There was a picture that they sent us before we got here of like all the seats lined up in front of this place, and it just looked fantastic. And then we saw the tiny banner up front. And it was really fucking special. For our 200th episode, this was the way to do it. So thank you guys all so much for coming. Okay. I'm shaking it up, but I'm making you pick.
Oh, son of a bitch.
That's right. Here we go, raffling the TV. I've got 3 of these TVs at home myself, ladies and gentlemen. We use them on Fatman on Batman.
We do.
They're wonderful TVs.
May the great God of Arbor guide your hand. All right. Okay. 717. I'm assuming everybody has a 717, right? 9 6 3 963.
Did you win the TV? Come on up here, man. What's your name?
Veronica.
Give it up for Veronica. She won the TV. How awesome, but you can't watch it until you're out of line when you're all done with line.
I was going to buy a new TV. Were you? I need a new TV.
It's a Christmas miracle. Give it up for her, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this bad boy. 4K HD, 55 inches.
Wow.
How sweet, man.
I hope your car is big enough.
I know. How you getting home? All right. You can put it in my house if you want. Don't mind if I unbox it.
Just walk it up the hill.
That's great, man. Congrats. That's fantastic. Give it up for her, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the good folks at the TCL for providing us a TV. How'd you feel about show 200, my friend?
Man, I think it is one for the books. We could not have done a better 200th show.
I get a lot of, because I always dress in hockey jerseys, I get a lot of hockey jerseys no matter where I go. But this is actually one that I cherish and will actually wear. It's a TCL Chinese Theater jersey, man.
That's awesome.
That is kind of dope. I thank you guys for giving me that. And I thank everybody for showing up here tonight, and I thank the folks at home who've been following along with this show for 200 episodes. This proves that you don't need talent to have your
thanks, man.
to have your own show. Like, think about it. Like, in our day jobs, we're always trying to prove our abilities as writers. But this allows us to just love on shit and discuss shit like a fan does without worrying about careers. Probably why we don't get hired for anything.
I think that's probably true, at least on my case, for more than one thing.
But I'll trade it, man, because it's worth it. I love doing the show. Thank you for doing it with me.
Thank you for inviting me into the Fat Cave, my friend.
And thank you all for coming tonight and for listening at home. That's all for this week. For Fatman, I'm Batman. I've been Kevin Smith.
And I've been Marc Bernardin.
Tune in next time. Same fat channel. Smodcast.com or
YouTube.com/Kevin Smith.
Good night, Hollywood.